Hello and welcome back to Marsha J's Medical Terminology Simplified channel. So, one of the many reasons I'm so fascinated by medical terminology is because it's simple to learn. Like suffixes of a medical term, they pretty much all have their own meaning. Take, for instance, one of the examples below, the suffix of centesis. Centesis always means surgical puncture, and if you put the prefix to it, such as arthrocentesis, your meaning of arthrocentesis is surgical puncture of a joint. Arthrocentesis is a procedure to remove excess fluid through a needle from a joint, such as your knee or ankle, your hip or your elbow. Second example I have of a suffix is ectomy. Ectomy in medical language always means excision or surgical removal of. And if you put the prefix append in front of ectomy, you have appendectomy, which is a surgical excision and or removal of the appendix. The appendix is a worm-like structure that's attached to the large intestine, but if it becomes inflamed or infected, that's when an appendectomy is performed. The suffix gram means recording or writing, such as electrocardiogram or its abbreviation ECG. It's an instrument for recording. Same with graphy or graphy. And I've given the example of electrocardiography. Electrocardiography. It's the process of recording, as in the example shown here, with the medical assistant recording a patient's ECG to show activity of the heart. Now that we've learned a few basics on prefixes, root words, and suffixes in medical terms, let's go ahead and really build onto what we've learned by advancing these words into whole words and defining the terms. There are plenty more prefixes, root words, and suffixes to learn in medical terminology, but I'll continue to integrate them as we go along. I think what I'll do is break down medical terms by body systems, starting from the head all the way down to the feet, and learning terms in between. So maybe for each month, I'll explain terms for the integumentary system, another month, another body system, so on and so forth. The skin is made up of 3 layers. You have the epidermis, which is the outer layer of the skin. Then you have the dermis, which is your true skin. The dermis contains blood capillaries, nerve endings, sweat glands, hair follicles, and other structures. And by the way, another name for skin besides dermis is cutaneous. The third layer of the skin is the subcutaneous tissue. Sub means below or underneath. The organ of the skin have many functions, including protection, sensation, regulation, and other functions. Your skin accounts for about 15% of your body weight. And did you know that the average person has 300 million cells? Yeah, I know, right? I just learned that myself. The integumentary system is packed with lots of medical terms, along with different diseases, conditions, and just your basic terms related to the skin. One basic term selected here is melanin. Melanin is another term for black, and the definition of melanin is that it is a black pigment that provides a protective barrier from the damaging effects of the sun's ultraviolet radiation, which can cause skin cancer. It's also known that dark-skinned people produce large amounts of melanin and are less likely to have wrinkles or skin cancer. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't get skin cancer. It's just that it is less likely. On the other hand, individuals who cannot produce melanin are known as albino, as in the image here on the right. They have a marked deficiency of pigment in the eyes, hair, and skin. Pigment is defined as a substance that gives color to tissue. Other terms you'll hear related to the skin are words like hidradenitis, hydro, Hydro, which is not to be confused with hydro, Hydro, which is water. Hydro is defined as sweat. Adeno, is a gland, and itis, of course, means inflammation. So, the definition of hidradenitis is inflammation of the sweat glands. Some common diseases and conditions related to the skin are terms like eczema. Eczema is also known as dermatitis, or inflammation of the skin. It's a redness of the skin caused by swelling of the capillaries, and capillaries are defined as the smallest blood vessels. Next, you have impetigo. Impetigo is a bacterial skin infection characterized by isolated pustules that become crusted and ruptures. And finally, we have eschar. I know some people pronounce it eschar, but the correct pronunciation is eschar. Eschar is dead matter that is sloughed off from the surface of the skin, especially after a burn. Okay, that's it for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.